Hello, my name is Cecilia Dobbs-Walton. I'm the Public Affairs Specialist for the City of Biloxi. I'm here to deliver today's Be Prepared report. This is being recorded on Monday, June the 8th, 2020 at 2 in the afternoon. This is our first report since Friday. Today, the Mississippi State Department of Health reports a record number of cases of the coronavirus. A total of 498 cases of COVID-19 were identified statewide in the past 24 hours. The state also reported 265 cases on Saturday and 236 cases on Sunday. You can see the growth since day one in this chart. The overall total is now 17,768 cases since day one and a total of 837 deaths statewide since counting began. This chart shows the daily comparison of new cases reported in the state over the past 14 days. In Harrison County, it's been a busy weekend for the coronavirus. As you can see from the chart, 7 new cases were reported in the past 24 hours. 6 were reported on Saturday in Harrison County and 7 on Sunday. That's 21 cases in 3 days. Hancock County had 1 new case in the past 24 hours and none over the weekend. However, Jackson County had 8 new cases in the past 24 hours and 3 on Saturday and 4 on Sunday. The tropical storm, of course, was the big story over the weekend, and its remnants, rain and gusty wind, are continuing even today. But the fact is, the coronavirus numbers show the threat of the virus is real and continuing. Our local hospitals continue to admit patients with the virus. In fact, about 24 are hospitalized right now in Harrison and Jackson counties. Remember the recommendations. Follow the recommendations. Social distance. Wash your hands often. Avoid crowds, and yes, we advise that you wear a mask. As Mayor Gillett has said, personal responsibility is key in helping to stop the spread of the coronavirus. And now to the storm. The waterfront along the Mississippi Peninsula was battered by the storm. As for the rain, Keesler reports 7.7 inches of rain since noon on Saturday. We realize it could have been higher in some areas of the city. No storm deaths were reported in Biloxi, no injuries were reported, and there were no reports of homes flooding. The biggest issue for police was dealing with people trying to drive through roads covered by water, especially on Highway 90. More than 24 motorists were stranded and had to be rescued. The city today continues to assess damage and begin the cleanup process. The biggest damage appears to be limited to downed limbs, debris, and of course, damage to piers, especially the Lighthouse Pier. Finally, we call to your attention the week that was. The city each week, usually on Monday morning, gives a recap of the previous week's activities from several key departments such as police, fire, community development, and engineering. Want to know what happened in Biloxi in the past week? Just click on the weekly reports at the bottom right of any page on the city's website. That's our report today. Remember, we're going to start our Monday, Wednesday, and Friday recordings of the videos, so we will see you here again on Wednesday. We leave you today with a little history lesson on the renowned hurricane hunters stationed at Keesler Air Force Base. Did you know that the Air Force mission of flying into hurricanes began more than 70 years ago? Well, watch this and you will learn how it all began.
It all started as a dare between 2 Army Air Corps pilots in 1943. Flight instructor Major Joe Duckworth flew a propeller-driven single-engine T-6 Texan trainer into the eye of a hurricane. He made it out alive, then flew back in a second time, carrying a weather officer along. It was the beginning of how the Air Force collects hurricane data today. In 1944, the 3rd Weather Reconnaissance Squadron became the first official group of hurricane hunters. They flew WB-25D Mitchells through the 1944 Great Atlantic Hurricane, reporting data back to the National Hurricane Center. The Mitchells bomb bays were modified to carry extra fuel tanks instead of munitions. These tanks allowed for longer flights. 50 people died in the Great Atlantic Hurricane compared to nearly 700 in the 1938 Great New England Hurricane. The hurricane hunters were credited with keeping the death toll significantly lower by giving out ample warning.
Residents are advised to get out now.
The Air Force stripped some B-50 superfortresses of their defensive armament in 1953, equipping them for long-range weather reconnaissance missions. Now called the WB-50, the aircraft had high-altitude atmospheric samplers, Doppler radar, weather radar, and a bomb bay fuel tank for extended range. In 1959, the WC-130B Hercules became operational, followed by the E model in 1962 and then the H model in 1964. The H model flew until 2005, when it was replaced by the current WC-130J. As America entered the space age, the first successful launch of a weather satellite in 1960 helped forecasters detect hurricanes. Satellites still play a big role in forecasting hurricanes, but they don't provide the information needed to predict hurricane development and movement. The Atmospheric Distributed Data System, or ADS, and Omega Dropsound Wind-Finding System became standard equipment in 1987. The ADS system has sensors that measure temperature, humidity, altitude, wind speed, and direction. The data from these sensors is collected and sent to the National Hurricane Center. Over the years, the hurricane hunters have had many designations and called many airfields home. On November 1, 1993, the 53rd Weather Reconnaissance Squadron, as it's known today, was reactivated and assigned to the Air Force Reserve. In 2007, the stepped frequency microwave radiometer was added to the hurricane hunters' arsenal of technology to continuously measure surface winds and rainfall rates below the aircraft. The mission of the hurricane hunters makes it possible to give advance warning of hurricanes, increasing the accuracy of storm predictions.